So, greetings to everyone. Today we are going to discuss about chapter 4 of class 8. Okay. So, the chapter 4 of class 8 heading is materials. They are classified into metals and non-metals. So, I'll cover what are we are going to teach in this session. Okay. What are all the topics? Let's see what are all the topics which we are going to cover. So first we'll go some introduction part. We'll go introduction part. Next we'll go into metals and study them. Like we study the physical properties of metal, physical and chemical properties of metals, and reaction with metals with water. And we also see non-metals and also their physical and chemical properties. Next we are going to, let me clear you this. Let me clear you this few of my previous class videos. Yeah. Okay. Done. So on the fourth topic we have is difference between them. So what is the difference between metals and non-metals? We look into that, and we also look for reaction with acids. We also see reaction with bases. And all, when we are talking about reactions, we also talk about them. So we'll see what are all the types of reactions we have. In these types of reactions, let's say few of examples like displacement reactions. These are very important because in the 9th or 10th class you are going to study these reactions. So displacement reactions, and we have double displacement reactions. So we are going to study about these two reactions in this class, and we'll see some of the concepts like alloys. This is very important. So alloys of ferrous, ferrous means iron, and non-ferrous means non-iron content alloys. So these are all the topics which we are going to cover in this session. Okay, so I hope you like this video content. Okay, so without any delay we'll start our session. Okay, so you can make a note of your note in your notebook. So after all the I'll be writing down some important points in the note so that you can easily recall it later on. So introduction. So first of all, as the chapter heading, we have materials, in which we have metals and non-metals, right? So in this materials, first material. So what is the materials? Okay, so many materials which we see generally in general we have many materials. So anything, any cooking material we have, any non things we have. Some you when you go to school you have some materials like benches, chalk piece, boards. These are all kinds of some made up of different kinds of materials, which is a naturally available sources. They are converted into a form of usable shapes. So these are all materials. So materials can be of anything, right? So you can see many general examples. So you have many materials, okay, which you can make products, okay, which you can make products from raw form, okay. If the materials are obtained, if any kind of substances that are obtained from raw form and we convert into some usable kind of products, so those are known as materials, okay. Like if you have stones, those are also a kind of materials. So wood pulp. Wood pulp means the carpenters do some wood carving, right? Then the dust which you have, so that is also wood pulp. That is also one kind of raw material. Paper is a material. So materials are articles. Okay. So these are something but articles. Let's say articles or apparatus. Let's say apparatus needed to make or do something or do something. Okay. These are all materials. Or you can these are something like these are all materials. uh, you can also define the material in this form like uh, a substance. This is more accurate form of defining it. So substance or substances, okay, let's say a single substance or a substances or a combination of more or more substances of which, okay, of which a thing is made, which a thing is made or composed. Okay, we say that it is a material. So if building is a composed of stones, the stone is kind of a durable material. Okay, so stone is one kind of durable. Durable means durability, you check it, right? So that serves for a long period of time. Okay, so these are all like stones, wood pulp, wood pulp, and some of the articles. So articles means here articles or apparatus needed to make or do something. These are all something comes under or materials. Okay, so that's all about the materials. Okay, uh, now coming to metals. So these materials, whenever we say as in the heading of the chapter, we have classified these materials into metals and non-metals, right? So we'll discuss about this in detail in this lecture. Here, first we'll study about metals. Okay. So how do you differentiate? So we can only differentiate between metals and non-metals based upon their physical and chemical properties, right? So physical and chemical properties. On the basis of these properties only, we are able to differentiate between these two. For example, if two guys are there, one is boy, if one is boy, one is girl. So based upon the gender, we can differentiate these two. So gender is one property. So similarly, we have different kinds of properties for metals and non-metals. Let's see what are all the physical properties. So what are all the physical properties? Or let's say first define our metals. Okay, so metals are described as chemical substances. Okay, so metals, before going into the physical properties, we look into this. Okay, definition of this. So what is a metal? Metal means it is described as chemical elements, as chemical elements that that readily lose valence electrons. I know, I hope you have an idea about valence electrons. If not, you just check it out. Okay, to lose valence electrons to form positive ions. Okay, when the element loses this valence electron, it forms a positive ion. It forms positive ions. Okay, those are positive ions in the sense cation. Okay, so what are all the examples we have? Something for examples of the metals which we use our daily life in our for windows, etc. Everything is aluminum, cycles, etc. And copper we see daily in life. We see iron. Okay, we see iron. Okay, we see tin. Okay, we see we see gold. Okay, we see tin. Okay, so these are all some kinds of metals. Okay, so how many metals are there? In the we all know that in the periodic table we have 118 elements. Among these 118 elements, we have 90 elements are of metals. 90 elements are of metals. Clear? Now, as of we have known the metals definition. So, metals are described as chemical elements that readily lose valence electrons to form positive ions. Positive ions are nothing but cations. So, examples we have aluminium, copper, iron, gold, and tin. Okay. So, now let's see what are its physical and chemical properties. Physical and chemical properties. Physical and chemical properties. So we'll look into this one by one. So please pay attention. Okay. So metals generally, let's look into physical properties first. So among in this physical properties. Physical properties. Among this in this physical properties in the metals. So what does we observe generally? So metals are in shiny in nature. Okay. So they have shining surface. They have shining surface. They have shining surface in their pure form. Okay. So this shining nature. Okay. This shining nature is called luster. Luster. Okay. So we pronounce it as luster. Okay. Clear. Now we already know that if someone hits with some metal, we usually lose our consciousness, or we say we get huge damage to ourselves. So why? So usually they are of hard in nature. They are hard. They are hard. But how hard it is, it varies from one metal to other metal. So hardness varies from, so you know how hard it is to tell. It will tell about the hardness of the particular material. So this hardness varies from metal to metal. Okay, cool. So what is next physical property? Next physical property we have, they are malleable. Malleable. So malleable is nothing but it is a property of a material to form into sheets. So it's a property of a material to form into sheets. This is malleability. That is known as malleability of a material. Okay, upon beating, they can form into sheets upon beating. So for example, let us take aluminium. If you take aluminium, if you beat it really hard, it will be turning into a sheets. That is malleability. Okay, and next we have ductility. Ductile means ductile. It is ductile means if you say if any metal, if any material or a metal is in ductile in nature, it is nothing but it means that it can be molded into thin wires. It means that it can be drawn. It can be drawn means drawn or molded. Both are same. Okay, because wires usually manufactured in the factories, they draw the wires like a toothpaste, like a paste coming out of this toothpaste. You draw it, right? You draw it, you just pull it out from a hole. So like that, you also make the metals into wires. Like you can see in your electrical wires and above in your roadside electrical poles, you have wires, right? So those are made up of aluminum. So that is drawn into wires. So metals are also ductile in nature. So it means it can be drawn or molded into thin wires. That is known as ductile. Yeah. So for example, you can also have aluminum and gold. These are all ductile in nature. Okay. So and moreover, other property we have physical property, which we can say these are physical, the properties which are happening in physical in nature. So those are all comes under physical property. So they are good conductors of heat. They are good conductors of heat. Okay. So they allow heat to conduct through them, and they have high melting point. High melting point. Melting point. So water starts to boil at 60 degrees, whereas metals start boiling after some hundreds of 200s of degrees Celsius. Okay, so they have high melting and boiling point. Okay, usually if they are good conductors of heat, they can also conduct electricity. They can conduct electricity. So they can conduct electricity. Right. And most of the metals are sounds. Sonorous means sound. uh, like it's a sound producing. So if you hit any steel container in your home, it makes some sound. So that means it is sonorous material. So they are mostly sonorous. Sonorous. Sonorous means sound. Producing sound. Produces sound. Produces sound. Here. So these are all some physical properties of metals. Now we can clearly differentiate among them, right? Okay, they have shining surface. The shining surface property is known as luster. They have luster in a pure form. Metals have luster in a pure form. They are hard. Their hardness, this hardness varies from metal to metal. They are malleable. They are ductile. They are good conductors of heat. They are melting point. They conduct electricity, and they are mostly of soreness. Now, chemical properties. Let's see chemical properties. So, in the chemical properties, let's see what are all the chemical properties. So, for example, uh, what happens when metals combine with oxygen? Okay, so metals combine with oxygen, they form oxides. They form metal oxides. For example, you can take copper. Okay, and you react with oxygen. Okay, then you can give 2CO, copper oxide. Okay, 2CO means here two oxygens are there. So this two and this two are balanced. This is not balanced. So 2CO. You can write like this. Okay. This is about balancing which you learn in your higher classes. Okay. And if you can say like aluminum, if you take aluminum, you can take oxygen. They can form aluminum oxide. Al2O3 means two aluminums are there. So you can write 2 here. How many oxygens are there? 3. So in order to balance, you can write 3 here. 3O2 means 6, right? So 6, 3 2s are 6. 6 means here 3 are there already. If you write 2 here, aluminum becomes 4. Then you can write 4 here. So this is the 4. It's all about balancing. So all the production reactant sites should be equal. 4 aluminums are there, 4 aluminums. Okay. 3 aluminums, 6 oxygens are there. 3 2s are 6, 6 oxygens are there. So equation is balanced. So metals when combined with oxygen they form metal oxides. And these metal oxides most of the metals which form metal oxides are mostly insoluble in water. Insoluble in water. If if some metals are soluble in water, if some metals which are soluble, some metal oxides, if some metal oxides which are soluble, then they form alkalis. They form alkalis. Alkalis means in the periodic table it is a first group like alkali, or you can say bases, basic in nature substances. For example, in this case you have like say sodium oxide. Let us take sodium oxide. When it is reacted with water, it gives NaOH, which is basic in nature. Okay, like that you have potassium oxide. Potassium is a metal, right? So when it is reacted with water, it gives potassium hydroxide. Okay, so these are all some of the examples of chemical properties of metals. Okay, so mainly you have to remember when they are reacted with oxygen, they form metal oxides. These are insoluble, mostly insoluble in water. If some metals are soluble, they form alkali. Okay, so that's why as they are mostly soluble in water or like oxygen component, so that's why this sodium and potassium, potassium is denoted with the letter K, sodium is denoted with the letter symbol Na. Okay. Na and K. These two are immersed in kerosene for storage purpose. So as they are highly reactive, as they are highly reactive towards oxygen. Okay, so they are kept or stored immersed in kerosene. You know kerosene, all right? Kerosene, right? So if you take other metals like magnesium, aluminum, zinc, and lead, so these are all they form thin layers. They form thin layers when reacted with oxygen. And reacted with oxygen. Okay, so that's why they are kept open. So very thin layers they form. That gives us some of the chemical properties of the metals. Okay. What happens? What happens? We have also discussed, right? Reactions with reactions of metals with water, right? How does it respond? So reactions of metals with water. So what happens? So we have seen some of the metals reacted with water, they form some alkalis, right? So metal produce metal oxide, right? We know that. So metals produce metal oxide plus hydrogen on reaction with water. When they are reacted, it produces hydrogen or water. Clear? Metals produce metal oxide and hydrogen gas when reacted with water. Clear? Yeah. So when metals produce metal oxide plus hydrogen upon reaction with water. Clear? So like say if as we have already discussed, if that metal oxide is soluble in water, they form metal hydroxides, right? NaOH means hydroxide. So hydroxide means OH, right? So that is, so metal hydroxides they form. Metal hydroxide is formed. Some of the metals, like if you take magnesium, it doesn't react with cold water. Doesn't react with cold water. Clear? It doesn't react with cold water. Like suppose if you have like some of the metals like aluminum, zinc, iron, they do not react with H2O. Some of the metals they do not react with H2O, but direct water, but but they react with steam. But they react with steam. Steam means like it's a kind of like water vapor. Okay, it's kind of like a water vapor. Clear? Sorry for this. Yeah, it's kind of like a water vapor. So, for example, if you take aluminium, let's take two parts of aluminium, and they are reacted with three parts of oxygen or water. They form to give aluminum oxide, right? And they also give hydrogen gas. So the equation is balanced. Okay. If you take iron, let's take iron and react with water. What does it form? It forms iron oxide, right? Fe3O4. Fe3O4 is a formula for iron oxide, like plus hydrogen gas. If the four hydrogens are there, we have to give 2H2 here. Okay, or 4H2O because four oxygens are there. So 4 oxygen, 8 means 7. So next we have Fe3O4. Fe3O4 in the sense 3 Fe3, right? So 3. So this is also balanced. Clear? So these are all some kinds of examples when the metals are reacted with water or steam. Steam is also a compound of water. Okay, but directly they do not react with water. Do you see any? If you place a zinc rod in a tub of water, it will react. No, but if you keep on giving some vapor to it, vapor form. Look, if you are trying to give that on the metal, then it will slowly in slow process. It is a slow process. These two reactions are of slow process. They tend to react on slow process. They tend to react slowly. Okay. So this is all about metals and non-metals. Okay. Sorry. This is all about metals. Okay. So what all we have discussed? We have discussed and yeah, we have discussed not a lot of properties. There are some like exceptions. Okay, there are some expectations. Hence, uh, you say like for example, in physical properties there are some expectations. Okay, means there are some limitations in physical properties. So in physical properties, we told that they are malleable, they are ductile, and they are hard, and they are good conductors of heat and all. So there are some expectations to these metals. Okay. So now we have some exceptions or which some exceptions for physical properties. So let's see what are all the expectations. exceptions. Okay, sorry, exceptions. So let's see what are all exceptions for the physical exceptions in physical properties. Sorry for that. Uh, Exceptions in physical properties. Okay. So what are all exceptions? We have some, see, like alkali metals, right? We have alkali metals which are mostly hmm, alkali metals, like we mostly say sodium, potassium and lithium. Okay. So these metals, these are the metals which can be cut using a knife. Using a knife. We can easily cut these metals. Salt we can cut with the knife. Okay. So like that. Salt means like NaCl, right? And that sodium is there, right? Fluorine is a non-metal. Obviously, this is a metal. So this can be easily cut with a knife. So we have like mercury. Mercury is a metal, but it is in the form of liquid. It is a liquid metal. If we take mercury, it is a liquid metal. And we have something like and it is also a pure conductor of heat. So these are all some which doesn't follow the general properties of the metals. So these are all is a poor conductor of heat. Similarly, lead is also a poor conductor of heat. So if it is a poor conductor of heat, it will like it will if small change in temperature, it will uh, it will expand significantly, because we know that metals expand when with temperature. So small change in temperature will lead to significant change. Significantly it changes, means that there will be a drastic change. Significant change in mercury. Significant change in expansion of mercury. Expansion of mercury. Okay. If you take some of the other diamond, so diamond is also a metal, so which has very high melting point and all. Okay. And metals are usually dense. Okay. We know that. This is all about metals. Clear? So now we'll see about non-metals. Now we'll see about non-metals. So what are non-metals? Obviously, the substances which are not metals are counts under non-metals. Okay. These are all found in three states. Okay. These non-metals are found in three states: solids, liquids, and gases. And they are also found at room temperature. They are also found at room temperature. Found means they are available. Okay. So they are found in all three states, like solid, liquid, and gas. So iodine. For suppose if you say take an iodine non-metal. Okay. It is a non-metal. Being a non-metal, it has shiny nature. Means it has luster property. Okay. If you take carbon. Okay. Carbon is one of the non-metal. So carbon has allotropes. Allotropes means mm, allotropes means carbon can exist in different forms. Okay. So it cannot exist in different forms. Exist in different forms. Like if you take carbon can be in a like it is present in diamond, and it is also present in graphite. Okay. Among that in diamond we have it is hard. Okay, whereas in graphite it is soft. Okay, so in diamond it can hard, and graphite is being a soft, it can also conduct electricity. It can also conduct electricity. Here, now that we have seen some of the properties of metals and non-metals. Uh, let's see its differences. We'll also see some of the properties of non-metals. So we'll also see some chemical properties of metals. Okay. Similarly, let's talk about chemical properties. Let's talk about chemical properties of metals. Chemical properties of metals means, so like alkali metals, alkali metals. What are alkali metals? I told you lithium, sodium, potassium, etc. So they react with water and oxygen. Okay, they very high. The reactivity alkali metals react with water in high proportion, like vigorously. Okay, react with water vigorously. Vigorously means no control. Okay, vigorously. So among them, like magnesium. Magnesium cannot react with cold water, so it only reacts with hot water. Okay, like aluminium, iron, and zinc. If you take them, they can only react with steam. Okay, as we have already discussed. But copper, silver, platinum, and gold, they do not react with water. Do not react with water. Okay, so they do not react with water. Clear? So they do not react with water. So now that we have discussed all the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals, let us quite differentiate between them. Okay. So let's first differentiate between metals and non-metals. Okay. So we'll differentiate between these two. Okay. So metals and non-metals. So in this metals, what are all the properties we have discussed? First property we have discussed is these are generally hard and shiny in nature. Hard and these are generally hard and shiny. So these are generally hard and shiny. Okay, these are generally hard and shiny. And some of these metals, like these are not all. Most of the metals are soft and have no luster. Okay, but some of the metals, like in the above case in the non-metals, I have told you, right, some metals have luster property. What is that? In iron. Okay, being a non-metal, it has some luster property. And coming to second point, we have malleable and ductile. So metals are malleable and ductile, but whereas non-metals, these are not. These are not. Third property which we have is they are sonorous, means they are sound producible. So most of the metals are sonorous. Okay, sonorous means sound producing. When they are struck, it produces some sound, but these are not. Okay, in this we have good conductors of heat and electricity. So good conductors of heat and electricity, but these are poor conductors. So these are poor conductors. It doesn't mean that doesn't conduct any electricity. These are, they conduct, but they are poor. So they react with oxygen to give metal oxides. So metals react with oxygen to give metal oxides, which are basic in nature. Which are basic in nature. But whereas this react with oxygen to form non-metallic oxides. Non-metallic oxides, which are acidic in nature. Which are acidic in nature. So with this we have other point like when they reacted with acids, when they reacted with acids they form metal salts. They form metal salt and we also form hydrogen gas. So when they react with the non-metals react with, actually they do not react with acids. Yeah. They do not react with acids. And most important point is some metals react with bases to produce hydrogen gas. Whereas in this complex reactions takes place. When the non-metals react with bases, when they react with bases, there is a complex reaction taking place here. Okay, and with this we are moving on to the next topic, which we are have is reaction with acids. Reaction with acids. Reaction with acids. So as we all know that when it is reacted with dilute acid, okay, it gives metal salt with hydrogen gas. Okay, when there is one concept called aqua regia. So this is aqua regia. What is this mean is when a freshly prepared, okay, when freshly prepared concentrated HCl and concentrated HNO3 taken in the ratio of 3 is to 1, okay, they can dissolve. This is the freshly prepared. This mixture is called this concentrated HCl and concentrated HNO3 nitric acid in the ratio of 3 is to 1. This is known as aqua regia, which can dissolve which can dissolve gold and platinum. So which can dissolve gold and platinum. So these are all precious metals, but those precious metals can also be dissolved using this aqua regia. Okay, whereas this hydrogen gas does not evolve in case of HNO3. As it, if we take the HNO3 acid, there is no hydrogen gas evolved because it is an oxidizing agent. It oxidizes H2O. It oxidizes H2 gas. Okay. So this is about aqua regia. The aqua regia is very important concept. Okay. So reaction with bases. What happens when it is reaction with bases? When metals react with bases. Okay. Metals react with bases to produce. Metals react with bases. Some metals react with bases to produce hydrogen gas. Okay. Well, as non-metals, we have also seen that. Okay. So these are all some important concepts behind the metals and non-metals. Let's see uses of them. What are the applications? Okay, let me clear the screen. So now we have uses of metals. First use is used in like making machinery. Many of machines will make with metals, right? So making machinery in automobiles like automobiles and jewelry. We have trains. Okay, we have aeroplanes, cooking utensils, etc. Okay, and we have what we use for jewelry. Which metal we use for gold, right? We use gold is used for making jewelry. Okay, and coins. Okay, and something like that. Dentistry. Some people will use gold teeth. Okay, so like that. And silver is also used for making jewelry or articles of silver articles like ornaments, table cutlery, and etc. or photographic films, etc. is used in silver. What are the other metal? We have copper. So copper, which we see mostly in wires, like mostly you see copper in wires. And you see uh, utensils. You see in utensils. You see also see in alloys. You also see in statues, copper statues, etc. like that. And iron, where is iron mostly used? So iron is used in constructions purposes, like mostly they use in most in constructions, most in constructions, like ships. Okay, they use lot of iron, right? So the ships, buildings, automobiles, these are all some applications of iron. Bridges, railway bridges, etc. Okay, and we have tins. For example, tin. Let's say take tin. Tin is used for tinning food cans. Like you drink cool drink, right? Tin cans, right? Tins, in tin cans, etc. You have tin is also used in making alloys. Alloy is one or more combination of one or more materials is an alloy. And you have around zinc. So when iron is coated with zinc, when coated with zinc, when coated with zinc, it gives like protection for the iron. Okay, because this zinc react with oxygen. Okay, to form zinc oxides, and there will be protection for the iron beneath it. Okay, so usually it is used in coating purposes. This to prevent. Why coating? Why we need to coat? So to prevent rusting. Only to prevent rusting we need coating purposes. And we have aluminium, mostly used in wires and foils, etc. Now we see uses of non-metals. Uses of non-metals. What are all the, like if it is a non-metal, it can be used in fertilizers. Can be used in fertilizers, in water purification process, right? In water purification process, it can be used in crackers like sulfur and all. It can be used like oxygen is non-metal, which is essential for life or life saving, which is oxygen. O2 is our life saving. And like nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen. So nitrogen, this N2, this nitrogen N2 is for this nitrogen is mostly used by plants to make proteins. Used by plants to make proteins, right? And we have some chlorine. Chlorine is used for bleaching powder, manufacturing insecticides, pesticides. Okay, sterilization of drinking water, and removing the bacteria and all. So that those all comes with the chlorine. Iodine is used for proper manufacturing, proper functioning of human body. Okay, it is mostly essential. Iodine is mostly essential. Helium is a noble gas, like which is used in weather observation balloons. Okay, these are all some kinds of uses. Okay, and last things we have types of reactions. So these types of reactions which we daily see are displacement and double displacement. So let's see displacement reactions. Displacement reactions. So these displacement reactions, in these reactions, uh, the metal which is more reactive displaces very less reactive. So when the metal is which is more reactive metal, when more reactive metal displaces less active material, means it replaces that. Okay, it takes place of that. Displaces means that it displaces less reactive metal from their compounds, like they exist in compounds, right? So from their compounds in aqueous solution, so in aqueous solution, when a more reactive metal displaces less reactive metal from its compounds, it is known as displacement reaction. I'll give you an example for this. Let us take copper sulfate. Okay, when it is reacted with zinc, okay, zinc means zinc metal, so it gives rise to zinc sulfate. It, okay, plus copper. So copper, if you want to know the presence of copper is there, it turns like red. It looks like red in color. Zinc sulfate is colorless. Okay, zinc you have known that, and copper sulfate which is mostly in blue in color. Okay, so this change in colors you can identify the compounds. Okay, and we have other example, like let's take Pb plus CuCl2. Okay, when it is reacted, it forms PbCl2 plus copper. So what is happening here? Chlorine is displaced, right? The copper is displaced. Copper is displaced with Pb. So that is nothing but your displacement reaction. Whereas we'll come to this double displacement reaction. So what happens in the displacement reaction? In aqueous solution, more reactive metal displaces another less reactive metal. Okay, from this compound, its compound or is called as displacement reactions. What is double displacement reactions? There will be an exchange of ions. So double displacement reaction. So double displacement reaction means, or say, let's get it clearly. Double displacement reaction. So this double displacement reaction, exchange of ion takes place. Exchange of ions takes place between two compounds. Let's say take an example of Na2 sodium sulfate plus barium chloride. Okay, when they reacted, they give rise to barium sulfate plus NaCl, 2NaCl. Okay, so here what is happening? Barium is getting displaced with sodium, and this sulfate is, so then this is reacting with this chlorine so that it can form salt. This is NaCl. NaCl is also known as common salt. NaCl is also known as common salt. So last and foremost, most important thing in this concept, in this lecture we are left is with concept of alloys. With this will complete the unit. Okay, so alloys. So what are alloys? So alloys are a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture means, say, let us give you an example of homogeneous mixture. So homogeneous mixture, when you mix a spoon of water in spoon of sugar in water, it completely dissolves, right? That is an homogeneous mixture. Okay, so alloys are homogeneous mixture of two or more metals. So it should be completely mixed. Two or more metals. Two or more metals. Either it can be a metal or non-metal, or metal or metal, or metal or non-metal or non-metal. Okay. So these are all This is about alloy. So why does mixing of these homogeneous mixing of two or more metals is being done? So alloys are mostly like done to improve properties. Alloys are prepared to only to improve properties. Okay, so like properties of what? Properties of metals. So properties of metals. So in the aluminium, like alloys of aluminium, let us take alloys of aluminium. You can see like alloys of aluminium mostly useful in both. Why? Because we mostly do alloys for aluminium as a base material. Why? Because if you take aluminium, it is light in weight. Okay, as well as it light and strong. Can improve the properties of aluminium. Okay. So what are alloys? Some alloys of aluminium. You have dura aluminium, and we have magna aluminium, magnesium or magna aluminium. You can say it. Some alloys of like iron. You have alloys of iron, right? Like alloys of iron or steel. Okay, steel like stainless steel. These are alloys. Whenever you see a stainless steel, you should remember that it is an alloy of iron. Stainless steel, and you have means alloy of steel means what? Or alloy of means two or more metals like alloy of iron and carbon. So when these are two mixtured properly, they give steel and stainless steel. Okay, and we have something like brass. Okay, brass, bronze. These are all something like alloys of zinc. Okay, brass, bronze, and German silver. These are all some alloys of zinc. Okay, on the basis of composition, alloys are of two types. Again, on the basis of composition, alloys can be divided into not these alloys. Like generally, alloys are divided into two types. One is composition based on composition. Based on composition, it is divided into substitutional, and substitutional alloys and interstitial alloys and interstitial alloys. Substitutional alloys means what? In which atoms of one element randomly replace the atoms of other. So atoms of one element replace atoms of others. So replace atoms of another metal. Okay. Interstitial alloys means some atoms of hydrogen, small atoms of hydrogen, small atoms like hydrogen, boron, carbon, nitrogen occupy holes of crystal structure of metals. So occupy some vacant spaces. Occupy some vacant spaces. So this is about alloys. Okay, whereas coming to ferrous alloys means they contain iron as base material. Non-ferrous means they do not contain iron as base material. Means zinc, alloys of zinc. Zinc is a base material. Steel means steel, stainless steel. These are all comes under ferrous alloys. Okay, so that is about ferrous and non-ferrous alloys. Okay.